a gap in
Absolutely a rated X game.
Okay.
A lot of them. There's a lot.
Okay.
And now that I
Expect that.
registered for them, that's like half of what shows up on my suggested share. Because you like
It's this game, Larry? Yeah.
because you like Mahjong stripper girls.
Yep, yeah. Alright.
They have
Well,
they have
you know, sometimes these games, I mean, sure, you have a body cover.
But
Sometimes
yeah,
it's just
there's
that
nothing like that in
there's
there. Right.
body cover, right?
Right.
You know, the whole game may be kind of PG body.
Right, but it's just body.
Yeah, this one's just straight up, you know.
It's just straightforward.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just straight up. That's it.
All right,
It
all
may
right.
actually be less porn than.
We should probably start this
Bloody
up because I
Boots.
need a beer.
Oh, there's a winning deck build guide.
good.
All right.
You know, told you it was a deck builder.
That's
bro.
something we definitely should be playing on. Not only be
I agree.
Porno game weekend. Actually, we should do like a porno game weekend.
How?
deal there.
The
After
best,
hours. After hours.
oh,
We can
and
Bloody
then I have
Boots.
found
Yeah.
the best deck building game that leads to the least clothing.
Ah, well, of course.
So therefore, there's one for winning the game, and then there's one for winning the game.
All right.
Well, you gotta have goals.
Let's do this.
I mean, you know, whatever your winning conditions are.
Yeah. Could be my winning condition.
You got the
Perfect
game.
game of Dragon Age is to sleep with all the other characters. And then not be mad at you.
What did they say about
But you have to harden them, so therefore you have to.
what's that meme down
break
in
them
Twitter?
down.
Baldur's Gate. It's a great dating symbol. What's all this other shit?
There's a meme around the Cthulhu one of let me slip that dick.
That's a whole other considerable point.
Well, that's it.
That's
Live
it.
from the 6th subfloor basement of the Guys, Games, and Beer Towers. It's a tentacle attack. No, it's Guys, Games, and Beer.
Yeah!
There we go. Let's make sure the audio is working today, because, you know,
Yeah.
there's that update.
Good,
Yeah,
that way people can hear us.
There's lines moving.
50-50, right?
Yeah.
50-50 after every update.
Every update,
Windows.
man. Every update. Hey, Rob, I need a beer.
I have the thing for you, my friend.
Ba-bum. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
We're high class.
Hey, all the way. So, hey, Ryan, what do we have for tonight?
So we were down in Elmhurst, Illinois, at the Vintage Computer Fest Midwest, and we stopped at a brew pub.
What? We found a brew pub?
Yeah, I think we looked right as soon as we realized there was a really long line for beer in the convention
In the
center.
hotel, yeah. It's
And
like,
we're like,
no,
yeah, let's go.
I'm
find
not
one.
standing in line for Miller Lite.
I can't blame you for that.
Yeah.
But they didn't have craft beers. Usually they do have these things.
No, it was like it was pretty.
Well, I mean, they had whatever, but we're like, let's just go to
Fuck.
There's like about 18 breweries in the 5 mile radius.
I was-
Yeah, I was like, what the?
remember, they just
It's
did
a
their
dribble.
seat-
Did it open
It's
on
a
the
dribble
It
line.
opened on the seam.
Yeah,
Oh.
you know, the guy was
So-
distracted, you know.
It opened on the seam.
Uh,
Yeah, it's leaking out of the seam.
rats.
So they had, what do they call these, growlers?
Yeah,
Whatever.
it's
They're
like
not really growlers. I got
What
point
are
like
they,
this.
36 or 32?
32 ounces of canned beer.
Yeah.
So they can the beer instead of putting it in a glass growler.
Okay.
That means people don't just lose the growler. And
Right. Which to some extent makes sense. But here's what happened.
How many did
So
you
when
have
I
at your house
squeezed
at
the
one
can a
point?
little bit.
I
Oh,
still
it's
have
just like
7
separate.
growlers.
Seven growlers.
I have 7, 8 growlers at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to be careful not
And
to
I
hold it in
smashed
the
2 of them.
top.
So,
Smashed. So what we'd like to know. What
Okay,
this
I
one
do not
is?
like these guys. These do not pour well.
yeah, the problem is it's not sealed or good. But
The funny thing
weirdly
was-
enough, though,
No,
it seems to have plenty.
Oh
of
no!
fermentation.
What happens is when you open it, the force you put on the lid is breaking the seam.
Oh, so his little dealio machine was
It's not sealing it tight.
sealing it tight. So
Yeah.
so that's a
So it was
note
sealed
for-
tight enough to keep the beer going, but as soon as you start putting force on it to open it,
Yeah.
the seams are splitting.
So more. That's just a note for you there.
Yes.
That you might want to
Clamp that baby down a touch more. I mean, if you watch it, you can see it leaks at the seam when I do this. A little drips coming out of the seam.
Yeah.
That's odd, huh?
So it just breaks the seam or it's breaking this seam when I'm doing it.
They can it right in front of you. They got this delightful little machine there, and they can it right in front of you. So
It's got a
Well,
you
we're
got a
not
can
losing-
opener that runs
we're
around
not
the edge
losing
of
too
it.
much. It didn't explode when we opened them.
yeah,
Take a
you know
picture.
that's it up. I prefer my beer not exploding.
Yeah, hold on. I
completely
gotta
out.
get a piece of paper towel here and wipe this fucking mess up now.
All right, is there anything left in that?
There's
Yeah, there's a little bit
there's a
on
sip left in that one.
All
There
right.
we go.
Now there's no sips left.
All right. So we're trying something. And what do they have to say about this
so this
one?
is their premium rye, their American lager, and it pretty much here's a description. Our original American rye lager brewed with premium ingredients. And
That was the description.
So,
Okay.
So one of the things when you go to craft breweries and stuff, a lot of times they'll have IPAs and they'll have real specialty stuff. Maybe a Mexican jalapeno something.
Maybe a
or whatever.
Malort infused beer.
Yeah, maybe a Malort infused, which this place did have. But a lot of places don't have just a straight lager, which sometimes you just want a straight lager
Which you just might
because
want.
it gotta brew it longer, so you gotta let it sit longer.
See, this is what we discussed.
And
so-
so, but I gotta tell you,
Pretty nice looking beer, isn't it?
it is
So Larry
it's
brought
a
the
good
point up.
beer.
Yeah, and there is a problem. So IPAs, they brew in a fairly short brew time. Most beers do. Lagers have to be lagered, and that
Yeah.
takes it, been what, 3 months?
I'm not really sure, but for sure at least 30 days.
Right.
If you're a smaller brewery and you have smaller facilities, you got to crank things out. So
Yeah.
you obviously skip these. So it was
Right.
intriguing to find a brewery that was doing
That's a very pretty lager,
It is
actually.
pretty, yeah.
I mean, look at that. I
it.
mean,
Smells good too.
they also have just a regular lager that just says, the good old
right.
malt, rice, and corn.
Right.
thing,
So
right?
this, but this is a
This
rye
is
lager.
a rye lager, yeah.
So the
It does-
malt is
it does
rye.
smell good.
rye
Smells
malt.
good.
Let's do
And
this.
the regular one has like a paragraph. This one just says premium ingredients.
I'm going to agree with the premium part.
Ooh, that's classy. Pinkies out, people.
Honestly,
That's
this
nice.
is a Pinky's Out lager. So that you get that little sweetness on the back end. You can taste the rye, actually. You get that rye.
Boy, I wanted to talk
But it's
crap,
not-
but-
It's not overwhelming rye like that rye caraway seed one that we had.
Yeah, that was more like eating a loaf of rye bread.
Well, that's what it was. It was called fish fry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they did achieve the rye bread taste.
I did not have a problem with that one.
It was a little bit much.
It
for
was
me.
a little. It was getting a little much, but I did not have a problem.
This
with
is
it.
solid.
This is nice.
Again, not overly carbonated, but it's well carbonated. I mean, it's really
Yeah, I
good.
mean, there's bubbles. I could throw a little salt in here.
No. It would use that beer.
Oh, they
But
do
it
it
makes
to
it
pizza
so
too. It's the
entertaining.
same thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of things to throw in your beer, here's a pro tip: that olives, probably because of the salt content, you throw a couple olives in your beer glass, and they will, on their own, sink to the bottom, but they will also go back up. And I'm not talking from you drinking it.
right.
If you just let it sit there,
They'll rise to the top again.
and then when they get to the top, they'll sink back down again.
Oh,
They'll just keep going back up and down, like all day long.
okay.
Wow.
It's very entertaining.
Yeah, I know. If you got nothing better to do at the bar. Okay. All right. Well, let's start this out. Party cooler.
Oh yeah.
All right. Ryan, party cooler.
Yep. That's the one.
Yes.
Rob, party cooler.
Pretty easily.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
This is a good.
not
It's
doing
it's
it.
not overly carbonated, so I'm not going to get all gassy and filled up with it.
I'm not feeling the bloat.
No, not at all. The taste is really solid.
Yeah.
All right. You got your favorite pub.
Oh yeah.
All right, you're on a pint as we drink out of these classy pint glasses tonight. Unusual to see us like this. The only reason is because you should have held drinking out of this can. All right.
Well, we only bought 2, so
Yeah, that too.
If we had
The
5, we could.
Yeah,
Probably
we probably could. Yeah, Foster's.
Yeah.
All right, pub.
Yeah, this solid. It's good.
Yep, I'm getting it at the pub.
All right.
Yeah, I mean it's a bread and butter beer. It's a straight out bread. You know that what's that famous painting where the guy's just sitting there with his bread on the table and. I'm trying to remember the name of the painting, but
Apparently it's not
painting.
that famous.
It's a very famous painting. You'll all remember it, but anyway, it be perfect. You could just put this beer right next to that, and it'd be good. You'd be set because this is actually this is a good tasting beer.
It is.
All along.
It really is. I gotta say this is a solid.
We got
solid
2 more
beer.
cans.
No, we don't. We finished them off.
No, I mean we should have had 2 more cans.
Yeah, well, there might be other stuff coming up from
Yeah,
them.
they do a 4-pack too. So
That's really good though. I gotta say that's just a solid lager. Well, this could probably gonna be an easy one, but let's do it anyways.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that is a solid all thumbs up. So now they've actually got like 3 locations down there.
yeah, it was like Huntley. What were the 3? There's 3 of them like listed.
I wonder if you can actually buy any place besides their breweries.
Villa Park, Huntley Brewery, and Bartlett.
Oh
Brew
yeah,
Pub.
I mean I doubt very far though. Maybe in some of the stores locally near them,
but-
maybe.
But they didn't look like any of those were like bottling operations. They could like a Third Coast or something like that, where you know they're exporting all over the place.
And their site doesn't say like also available.
All right, yeah. Then they probably only sell on location. Well, if you are in the Illinois area or the Chicagoland area, definitely worth checking out more brewing. I mean,
Sure.
We had some food there, and the food was solid.
The food was good. Yeah.
It
We had some other beers. We did a beer court there.
yeah.
Where I got the passive verdict, I thought I did a nice job.
You did a good job passing verdict on that beer.
I did. I think so. And so, so we got a couple of them on this one, and everything so far. I don't think we've gotten a clunker.
The Malort beer.
Well, you should
You
do
know,
that.
But it
you
did
had
what it said,
said,
right?
you had said that the beer almost did a nice job of covering up
The Malort.
So that's saying something about the beer.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, point well taken. You can still taste the Malort.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Can
a terrible
anything
idea.
cover up Malort?
No, not really. No.
I was gonna say that tastes like the underside of a well-used trash can
Yeah, pretty
in
much
the
so.
summer,
I think Homer had the best.
and not one
for
of those plastic ones, a metal one.
that hot pepper when he like coated his mouth with wax or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's how you drink Malort.
That's how you gotta drink it.
All right,
That's how
good to
you
know.
do
it.
Coat your mouth
So
with
suck
wax.
it.
Just
Candle
have it
first.
full. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good to know. All right, Judge
This
Rob,
program does not.
let's go
endorse
ahead
sucking
and
candles.
pass verdict on Moore Brewing Company Premium Rye Lager.
On the charge of being the catcher of the rye. I'm so sorry. I find you guilty.
Can
If
we
it's
ban
not
it?
a Groner, it's not ours.
Can we ban it in all the sorts of schools?
Yes.
Sweet.
And you're gonna get put on some lists for drinking it.
But it would now become the preferred beer of murderers.
Ah,
Yes.
there you go. Also true.
You are guilty, and I sentence you I sentence you of. I don't know. 2.
Drinking.
What the hell? Yeah.
No, that is a solid beer.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm happy
so
about that.
we were down in Illinois. Besides drinking beer, we did do other things there. We went to VCF this weekend. So I'd never been before, which okay.
Well, the
that's-
whole team.
This is 18 years of
The,
the.
the,
I've
whole,
been in Illinois.
the whole team
Well,
had never been
it's,
there
the
before,
problem is it's
so.
always when we have a billion other things going on, so we haven't had a chance to get down there. So Ryan had the idea of going down there, so we went down there, and
We thought we'd
Just be
just
a
slip it in
arm
between all
twisting.
the other things. Just
you
slip
did
it
have,
right in.
not gonna lie, you did kind of have to twist my arm a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I got again.
Like I see this thing every year, and we miss
Never
it.
go.
That's
Well,
why-
they've invited us to come down and display before, and we just, we haven't done that either. And I don't know if we will actually.
We didn't this time. This was just
I
a
don't know
nice
if- I
visit.
don't know if
It
we
is
will.
fun to visit places and not have to do the display. I hate to say it. I know
Yeah.
it's terrible to say. But
No, it's not terrible to
sometimes
say
it's-
it.
Sometimes it's just
It was
like,
nice
well,
not to have
My
to
only
display.
thought was just to promote. That would be.
I
mean,
know.
We wouldn't really have the ability to show what we show.
It's
but
hard.
I mean, we actually promote. I mean, is that a thing? I don't really. really.
We do promote.
Yeah, but so if you haven't been to the festival,
Oh, the
just
live
sort
show,
of,
yeah, but
yeah.
this.
It-
Oh no.
it's lots and lots of old computer systems, many of which I'm betting most people have never seen before.
Except for us.
Yeah, well, there was even systems that certainly for me I had not seen.
Yeah.
And I think there maybe even was one that you hadn't seen before. So
He's like, no.
There were some K pros down there, weren't there?
it was
There
it
was
was a
K-Pros down there.
typewriter with a
K-Pro.
tape on. No,
The what?
Well, they
it's a typewriter with a tape. on
Okay,
it.
that wasn't even a computer. It was a typewriter.
with tape memory. It's
Yeah.
Oh, they had some of those like 80's typewriters that had the.
Oh
thing.
no! This must have been from the 1800s.
Yeah,
Oh,
this was
no.
older. And they had an interesting. They had like a phone relay system set up, so they had old school phones.
Oh, that's cool.
like throughout the place.
But
you could call.
the funny thing is, they actually
Yeah.
wired their own phone system into the hotel.
I like that.
Yeah.
And somebody was running a switch, an old school
And you can hear it like,
Yeah.
click, 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 click.
Like, wow.
Somebody set up an old phone school switch, and you could call the other phones, and people
Yeah.
would pick them
Oh,
up.
that's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
It
Yeah.
was actually pretty cool.
That was pretty fun. The only thing is, I only found one phone that had like a listing of available numbers.
Yeah.
Like all the rest of them, like it was hard to figure out because there was no available number
I
list.
thought there was somewhere on your phone you could get a list.
You
of
could.
all
Yeah,
the
maybe.
extensions.
On the
Okay.
site, there was a list
See,
of
there's the
numbers.
kind of thing you don't get at conventions a lot anymore, and it's that creativity. You remember,
Well, this
like a lot of conventions when we first started, they had so much original weird stuff, and then
That-
over
yeah.
time they
This-
standardized. This is
Oh.
that I like.
No,
this
That's
was
legit.
definitely a convention of creativity. I did like some of the displays, like the one display, although it was a little annoying to stand near, was the old school computers. The computers maybe you even knew, but maybe you didn't know it did this. Running the emergency broadcasting network.
Oh, that was.
Oh yeah.
Dude, but they were playing the alarm sound
Really?
in the.
Every time
Oh, we got
Everyone's looking at their phone going,
Did they
what
do
the
the
hell?
weather one that they do with the Amiga for like 20 years?
They did. They
That
had.
was epic.
They had the Weather
That was
Channel
a-
set up, running the Weather Channel graphics on the old Amiga.
That was so cool.
When it was running the telecable, the blue, red, like
Yeah.
remember that old?
Oh yeah, I used to tell my wife
And I
about this
took a
all the time.
picture
It's
of
running on Amiga. We got one of these, and she'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean,
would you
But
get rid of
it
that piece of
was
shit?"
kinda neat, and
Yeah.
I mean, not every one of them, but we all remember the Amiga one. That was kind of to
Yeah.
my heart. But there were other systems that were running other emergency broadcast stuff too.
Yeah.
you
Oh, yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
So
but you know, like you said, that alarm going off really freaked me out every time. it went
But
off.
yeah, they were forcing the alarm to go off. So everybody, when they got near, started looking at their phone like, "What the hell is this? An alert?" And like, because the sound is the same, even on your phone now, than it was in the '80s, right?
Right.
So it's like,
When it was on TV.
Yeah, it's been a standardized.
Right, standardized sound, exactly.
right. So you're like, "What the hell is there? An Amber Alert? What's going on?"
No, I gotta say,
It turns out it was a Silver Alert. They were looking for us.
Which is
They-
hilarious. It's hilarious because there probably were a couple of silver alerts there.
oh, and there definitely was. There definitely was. But
For
no,
sure.
I gotta say, it was and you're right. It's that creativity of the.
Well,
Even though they've been going on for a while.
what'd you buy?
Yeah.
What'd you buy? That was creative.
Well, so I bought a paper tape reader. Actually, so I forget the gentleman's name. He has a new reader that will read old paper tapes.
Oh, nice.
So because I have some old school computers that have paper tape programs available, he had a kit available there that he had designed, and he really. And yes, there are plenty of plans online for making your own paper tape reader. I know, but you know something? He did a really nice job on the design. The circuit board was really nice. He included all the mechanical spacers and everything. He didn't have the Pico in it. I thought that it said it had the Pico in there, but it did not. But it's a nice design. So yeah, and he was very nice.
Oh, nice.
So he was loading BASIC onto a Macintosh. Well,
quirky BASIC onto an Altair.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
Nice.
The Macintosh was there to display.
Was just a terminal.
So
Just a
like
terminal.
Was just being used as an
and you see
RS-232
the
terminal.
little turner thing to go, you know,
Yeah,
at a
you
certain
stand winding
speed.
the tape
You
through.
stand-
I think on the Apple they did have it was it was a device where you could, I'm trying to remember the name of it, where you would use a it was like a punch card, right?
Yeah.
And you'd read in these small little games.
Oh yeah, no, that's not.
I think it was on the.
There was all sorts
Apple
of experimentation
II.
in the 80s.
Yeah, with people just because you could put it in a magazine. They were.
Do you remember the
putting it in
OCR
magazines.
scanners? that
Oh,
they
the
had?
cat. The what do you,
Well,
what
they had
was
the
it?
cat one too, but there was this silver
Copycat?
one where you could set it over the page and you would run it down the lines.
Oh God,
Oh,
yeah.
remember
I
that?
had one of those,
You remember
yeah.
that, don't you?
Yeah.
I think we all had one of those.
So
Never
yeah,
had
I
one,
mean,
but I
so
know it,
that
yeah.
that was a creative use.
If you went too fast, it would cause a streak.
Another gentleman was using. So you've seen kind of like those little badges that light up, and you can like with LED lights or
Yeah.
whatever. He had a setup where he was using deconstructed core memory, which I didn't even know what it was, so Tom explained it to me. And he was using core memory and putting it inside of one of these, so you could use a magnetic thing to move the
Oh, that's
it
cool
around,
as hell.
and it would light up the
Can-
areas that
For
it was.
someone that doesn't
Know what core memory is? Okay, so
can you
the original way that we used to store memory, what you'd call
Yeah.
RAM nowadays, were ferrite cores.
Okay.
They're magnetic or can be magnetic, and then you pass wires through it. 3 wires generally: charge, discharge, and read. So when the magnet is charged in a magnetic state, that's a 1. When the magnet has no magnetic field, it's a 0. So you could effectively arrange bytes of RAM. So it looks like almost like a mesh screen with these teeny tiny little round things on it. So they took old core memory.
And apparently
And
it's
they made
legit old core memory.
Yeah, they made
Not just little
they made a
magnets.
fake touch screen out of it. So you take this magnetic pen, and then you could play games on it. It was
Yeah.
it was running on like a Pico or something like
But
that.
that's cool as shit.
Oh, dude, it was amazing.
It kind of reminded me
I
of
like that.
I
playing
almost
with
bought it.
the,
It was a touch pricey for what it was, but
It kind of reminded me of like the face thing with the beard
The
and
magnetic?
stuff. You know, that's what it kind of reminded
It
me.
really
That
was.
is really, really cool.
it was clever. I mean, just clever. And I was
Again,
tempted, but they were like
creativity.
$100. They were
Yeah,
like
they were a little-
$175. It was a
Yeah.
little pricey for me.
Really
So-
cool, but it's like.
All right, so we really probably should get to the topic. But before we do, let's
Yeah, I mean, it's
wait.
hard.
Let's
There's
do our
so
quick.
many interesting
Let's do our
things.
quick pickups. So, seeing as this was a retro computer,
Yeah.
Ryan, what did
So-
you buy while you were there? Ryan got some
I-
retro stuff.
I didn't really have my eyes on anything specific when I went down there, but I knew gaps in my retro computer collection. So I didn't have a VIC-20, and I found one in a box and picked that guy up.
And got it for a great price.
Yeah, so $75
Oh,
with
yeah.
a box, and
Right.
Those ain't con
No.
prices, damn it.
No, that was the other thing to talk about,
it
though.
depended
Yeah,
on
there-
the vendors. It
Yeah.
was like
There were some
And
good
they
deals.
I think there were some people who were like, "Hey, I'm selling my stuff," and
That's how
I
it used
know
to
who
be.
it's going to. It's like,
It's going to other collectors.
yeah. They're not.
No,
they're
weirdly enough, that was the one thing.
pretty rare.
So
to
when
see
we
that
go to
kind of
these
happen.
big arcade game shows, other vendors go through and raid the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
I did not see that here. This
No.
was all
No, that was
enthusiasts.
enthusiasts rating the fuck out of
I'm
it.
okay with enthusiasts rating the fuck out of it. Okay, so
But
but
there were,
but
there
wait,
were some really
but that wasn't
happy
enough.
people walking out already at 9:30 with some treasures.
Yeah, I'm like,
Like,
whoa,
you know,
they're already walking
You
out
know,
with this and that.
you know, they're
whatever.
walking out with like a tape drive for like a VIC-20. You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
It's like-
Hey, 1702 monitor, man.
Boom, right out.
Yeah,
Were
right.
there, were there some there?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good monitor.
That's why it was so fun to go.
Except
through,
for the
just
fucking
seeing this
flybacks,
stuff.
but
Yeah, well,
but you could
you can fix it.
fix it.
All right, so but you got
it's
something
like-
else too. That
and
wasn't
then I'm
enough for you.
Like,
But there's more.
you know what? I played the Tandy as a kid a couple times, and this guy had just some stuff laying on the table. He's like, I think he had multiples of a couple of things. He's like, Tandy Color Computer 2 with 4 games, a tape player, and the 2 joysticks, $75. And I'm like, I walked away and I came back and I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, no shit.
Honestly,
Yeah,
the
it's no
joysticks.
brainer.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Those joysticks are $25 a pop, a piece.
Yeah.
You got 2 of them.
So I do have to adjusting on one because I think one was in a box and had
Yes.
a
Yeah.
little bit. I'm like, They're not the greatest because are they analog?
Yeah, they are analog.
Mm.
So
and
you-
they just kind of like
so
fly around.
all
What
you-
are the trim controls?
Yeah, they're really hard to
No,
put
they
back
don't
in.
have the
No.
external trim
Okay.
controls, unlike the Apples, which did.
Yeah,
So
they have
those
the trim controls.
all you Apple users know, if you store your joystick off like that for long periods, yeah, it screws them up.
Yeah, but you trim them.
the Apple at least had trim controls.
Yeah,
the
no.
Coco did not.
Yeah, the Craft
Yeah.
did
So I
too.
tried both of them out. They all, I mean, it's not a controller I'm used to, but
Yeah.
it's like they both worked. And
So for
the game worked.
$150, you bought two 80s computer systems.
Yeah.
Both are working, and they both give me other projects to work on. You gave me one of the boards to get the composite out for the
Coco,
Tandy.
yeah.
So I'll be working on that.
And this was Saturday or Sunday?
This was both days. We only went one.
The Coco is a Tandy, right?
Coco's the Tandy, yes. When I
Yeah,
say
okay.
Coco, that's color computer. So they so there was the trash.
20 was in color.
There was the trash series, TRS.
Hey!
TRS 80s.
Yeah, they're trash.
The trash series.
That's
the
what
trash series.
we're Commodore people.
We're
We call
Commodore
them
people. We
trashes.
call them the trash series.
Trash
And then
series.
came the Coco series, color computer. All right, so he did he found a great deal. I think you did too, though.
So, it's kind of funny, like, what's a vintage computer now? Because this is almost
this is
vintage
weird.
computer.
Actually. No, it isn't vintage.
This guy pulled out a box of like 20 iPad Gen 2s. And he's like $10 a piece.
Hell yeah!
I'm like, yeah. So
Sold!
so I bought one of those. I should probably bought another one, to be honest.
Now that I should
$10.
grab a couple.
Yeah, I just you never know what
You could have walked around like Moses.
right.
We are talking over 10 years old.
I
Right.
present you.
Yeah. Is it that?
In a
10,
tablet
come on.
world, that's approximately as old as Moses.
Yeah,
I might have
yeah,
picked one up
serious.
just to
Yeah.
play some of the older games that were available for it, because there were some amazing games.
Right.
that
Are
can't
you
play
saying
on.
they don't work on newer games?
No, they won't, because they don't support the newer iOS versions.
Oh, see
So
now
you got
I
old
really-
ones.
No, that's you
If
can
you
play
got
them
old
on
one,
the
you can
old
play
ones.
some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
All of Jeff Minter's stuff doesn't run. Well, not
Yeah.
all of it, but most of it doesn't run on newer stuff. And he's got some amazing games like Goat Up.
Yeah.
Really good.
The fact that it's a system that doesn't like new things don't play this, that makes it vintage right there.
Yeah, right there. Thank you. Yeah.
Then they have this amazing junk pile.
This is
The
great.
amazing junk
So
pile.
this is actually something I like. You can literally just bring stuff there, put it in this junk pile.
That stuff that you feel too bad about.
You don't wanna
just
throw it
throwing
away.
in a garbage can.
Oh my
But-
God! If I would have went there, I'd have a truckload for him.
And so there was this big section, and inside there was a big section, but it had spilled to a big section outside.
The weather was nice.
And you had to kind of watch it because it was kind of like a pulsating blob.
Oh, it was.
Because it would shrink down a little bit, and then it kind of blow back up, and then it'd shrink back down, and then it kind of blow back up all day long, And so, I got a couple cords. I got an extension cord.
He grabbed an extension cord. Why not?
It's
free.
Yeah, it's free. Like I'm probably
It's
gonna
not
use.
going in junk.
I'm probably
Thank you.
going to use an extension cord. I got another little key. It was a male to male audio cable.
Mhm.
Those are kind of hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
Unless you go in my back room over here.
Yeah,
then
right.
You can find a
And
stack of the
that's
damn
in
things.
your personal junk pile.
I just threw out
Your
like 3 of
personal
them.
junk pile. But the one that was just like, am I just stealing this? Was a Casio music keyboard.
Full size.
Oh, hell yeah!
Full size.
Mini port?
Yes.
Yes!
Mini
You
port.
can put it
Mini
up, hook up to your C64!
It's just like
Hell yeah.
I love when Rob gets.
I should not be allowed
all right.
to be
His,
near that.
his voice goes pre-puberty
I
actives.
Had you not
High
picked-
school me is back again. Woo!
I think there was someone else
Yeah,
reaching
like-
for it.
like-
as
No,
I
there
said.
was. There was.
Like, if you wasn't gonna grab it, it was gone.
Yeah, that other guy was about to grab it. So you grabbed.
Slapping them.
Good thing you grabbed it when you did. So
There was an early '80s TV there.
Nice.
That walked away.
That probably would have walked.
that walked away. Somebody took that one.
That
Right away.
walked away. I even thought about it too because I'm like, but it had. It was a 19-inch, and it had the big piece on the side for the speaker and controls.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that'd be bigger than my boxes, so I couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't. But
Well,
that
we
was
had
like-
to build a bigger box. I
There was a
guess.
13-inch there, so it was like, Yeah, and then of course if you needed any kind of like you like want to build your own computer, there was like cases for days.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Everyone was junking cases. There was a couple cool ones that got set out there for a while.
Yeah.
I was almost tempted on a few of them. I was like, no, I bring more shit home.
If you were building like just like a MAME system, and one of these cases would be easy, no problem. So,
Were there any full boys there? Like some full size?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. There was some big.
Yeah, I
towers
can't
there.
be allowed
And then-
there.
Yeah, but it was a little perilous at one point.
Hey,
because
John. Hey.
The one guy,
Yeah.
took all
Hey!
Hey!
the one
Hey,
guy
Carl.
took
By the way.
all the empty boxes
Brian
from
bought
the
what?
computer
Yeah,
and
that's your wife.
threw them off to the side, disturbing
What?
a hornet's nest. And there was just stinging things everywhere, but they eventually went away.
It definitely got everyone.
Yeah,
to
so
move away from
I
it.
actually went looking for something particular, and I almost picked up something else because I couldn't find what I was looking for. So when we first went in, there were none of them out there. And then we looked at this really cool, they had a bulletin board, which, not a bulletin board, a whiteboard, where you could write down what you were looking for or what you had for sale. And sure enough, somebody had something I was looking for on that whiteboard. My collection's been missing an Osborne. I used to have an Osborne back in the 80s, and I really wanted an Osborne again.
It's luggable.
I've got the K Pro already. I never had a K Pro in the 80s, so I had an Osborne in the 80s.
Yeah, Duffy's mom had a K Pro. Remember?
Yep, she had the K Pro. So I wanted to. I have a K Pro now. I got a K Pro.
We're sick.
5-6 years ago, I picked up a nice K Pro. But I really been looking for an Osborne for a while, and they are rare and kind of expensive. Well, me and Ryan looked at the board, and it's like somebody had one for $150, and it's like,
It's like I think I know where that person is.
right.
Like,
So Ryan
we're
was
starting to look around.
and all of a sudden we want to walk across the table, and somebody's put a K Pro up on the table.
Osborne.
Osborne up on the table, and it's like, ooh, and it's
Done.
Well, not yet. No, it's marked $100, and it's like, wow, that's really cheap. It must not work because $100 for an Osborne is really cheap. And $150 was
And
cheap.
you asked like, and she was like, I don't.
It's not mine. I waited for the guy to come back. So I literally hung around waiting for this guy to come back to the booth.
Okay.
And I think you went out to check to see if the other one was
Yeah, I
available.
started looking around for the vendor that had the sheet and said, "Come see my table." And
Right.
Cool.
So finally he comes back and is like, you know what? He didn't know too much about it, but it looked fairly complete. And
I mean, it's sitting there. I can tell you
Thank you.
that.
This-
Calling
no,
your name.
Here's the thing. It's $100.
I have a manual.
It's $100. It had all the software, which I don't think any of the discs are any good. I think it's a drive. I actually think the discs are all bad.
No.
Which they're
You mean the 40-year-old discs are all bad?
40-plus-year-old discs. Yeah.
Did they have the
Probably
skizz
should've-
on them? Because I like when they got the skizz.
No, they don't have the skid.
No skizz?
No skis. They actually look pretty good. So.
I don't know what skish is.
It's like when you have a mark in the disc and you can see it. Like
Where the
it's
head
usually a
drag-
circle.
where the
yeah,
head
like
drag-
hit it.
Where the head dragged
It's like
across
a
the
scratch in a
surface.
record.
Like
Pretty much any electronic arts game from
yeah,
the 80s.
yeah, pretty much any
Oh.
yeah.
Ouch.
EA.
Okay, I know
Doesn't
scratches.
Yeah.
They've
So,
always been assholes. you know.
So I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on it for $100. Worst comes to worst, I was going to repair it. Got it home, fired up just fine. Yeah, it's not reading discs. I'm not sure. I think it's the discs. I don't think it's the drives. Those drives are built like effing
So, can you
tanks.
get brand new discs?
It could just need a clean.
I actually have 5 1/4-inch discs. And
you put a
it
clean-
could
oh,
not
but
but
it's
yet.
still
Clean
5
disc?
1/4, so it's
Right, it's
not
5 1/4. But so for those of you who don't know what the Osborne is the first portable computer. This is pretty much everything. Came out like 81. It has a 4-inch monochrome monitor built into it. It has 1 to 2 drives. I think they only came with 2 drives actually. Yeah,
Tom has a big magnifying glass that he puts in front of it. So you
Damn
can
near
see
need it, dude. When I was young, a 4-inch monitor didn't bother me. Guess what?
Aren't all the
Right?
like on the when you take it off,
Yep,
like to plug
yep.
in the front.
So you
they're
have
not
the
on
parallel
back or
the
anything, yeah.
parallel port inputs, and they're all actually circuit board inputs. So you have to have
Okay.
connectors for them. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. The serial is actually a D9.
Okay.
But so it was. It looks like a small sewing machine. Actually, it looks like a fucking large sewing machine. No, it looks like
It
a large
has a nice
sewing machine.
brown hue to
Your
it.
wife says you sit on a throne of lies.
Oh.
Nice.
So, but yeah, so I grabbed myself an Osborne while I was there.
That seems to need deeper explanation.
Yeah, really. But I've been looking for one.
Road of Lies.
I've been looking for one for my collection. It's one of the earlier computers I don't have in my collection that I had when I was younger. But you know, and I had that problem. I actually didn't buy mine new. I got it. I think I traded for it or something like that back in the day. So I probably had mine about 85. So I didn't start purchasing computers till 80. Like 80, I think was when I bought. Was it 80?
Theoretically,
No.
you could have traded a car for that.
I
The
might
price
have.
probably was.
Dude, I
Just
might.
like some of Tom's cars in the 80s.
Yeah,
let me tell
thank you. I might have.
Tom would let you borrow his car. He let me borrow his
I got
car
this
all the time because he
72
knew it was
Buick.
coming back.
Yeah, because nobody's stealing it.
Yeah.
I got this
Jesus
72 Buick. Can I trade it for your Osborne?
Yeah. When was my first computer? My first computer was 80, 81. So I didn't own commercial computers till the 80s.
Well, you
So-
built the one, right?
But that was 70s.
Wait, you told
still.
us this weekend what the first
Cosmic
computer
Elf.
you actually just
Yeah.
bought.
Oh, the first was Micro Ace.
Okay.
But that was a kit
No,
still.
no. The one that wasn't kit.
That would have been the VIC 20.
It was the VIC 20.
Right.
Okay.
So my first computer I
Just
built.
out of the box.
Right.
The VIC.
Thank you.
And
The
it's a
first-
computer.
Thank you. The first one. Mind you, again, I told you I was too poor to afford the tape drive for it at the time. So when you turned it off, you had to start again on anything you programmed. No, I mean, I barely could scrape it up to $300. It was $300 back in 1981, I think, or 80. And that was a shit ton of money for a kid who was working at Case. So yeah, no, I spent everything, every spare penny I had buying that.
I remember there was like this big pirate over in Sturtevant, right? And I went to trade with him, and I traded him a bunch of games I typed in
I can't
out of
blame him.
Compute Magazine
If I
and
had
Run
money, I would be buying stuff
for like
too.
a bunch of
Sounds
awesome
like
pirated
candy
stuff,
store.
and that entire pirate empire was started off of that horrible lie. I wasn't answering his phone calls.
The VIC 20, I think, came out in 81, 82.
182. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So this all kind of
That
ties
was
into
nice.
what we're actually going to get about.
Yeah, I think it's been long enough that we could probably just do a one-liner for this.
Well, it should be a one-liner.
I mean-
We've been talking about early computers, 80s computers. 'Cause I have to say, I think most of the computers we saw there were the 80s computers.
I'm just here for the beer.
Good. So,
Here for the beer.
I mean, really,
I
think
mean,
about
there
it.
was that
Also,
Atari Funky.
what did I do on
Yeah, that was the
Sunday?
90s computers. But I think most of the stuff there was vintage, late 70s, early I'd say 80s in general. I don't think there was a lot of newer stuff. I mean, no, I know there wasn't a lot of newer stuff. The Apple, most of the Apples were 2Es and stuff
Yeah.
like that. The Commodore stuff was VIC 20, C64. I didn't see a lot of Amiga stuff out there.
No.
There
So-
isn't a lot of Amiga stuff.
There
it's
was
high
there was
demand,
there
low
was
supply.
enough Amiga stuff.
There was some,
but
but not much.
you said it was 80 that it came out.
Well,
so-
for the 500. And then
Uh.
even the Atari stuff we saw there. We saw a lot of 400s. We saw a lot of 800s.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah, saw the Coleco.
Adam.
They had actually, man.
Man, I always
There was
wanted
that
that
one.
one.
That's one of my big
Yeah,
regrets.
that was
I
another
had a chance
75
to
bucks.
get
I
one.
could have spent.
I almost did, dude. I already have a nice Atom setup, but for $75 for a whole Atom, had the printer, the Atom, the tape recorder. I mean, they had everything.
The trouble is, I wanted it,
$75, and I was like,
so I
oh.
wouldn't. But I didn't get it, so I didn't know what it was. So my folks had sprung, and this was big for them. They had sprung, and it was a Christmas present for both me and my brother. At the time, we got a VIC 20,
Right.
and so that's the one we got.
Better choice.
It was a
than the
better
Atom
choice,
anyway.
to be honest.
It really is a better
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
There was a large
Yeah.
software library.
But
library.
2 tape drives on the Coleco Atom. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you had to
Two
buy the other one.
tape
separate.
drives.
Yes, you got.
The one
And
that
it
was
just
just
came-
dually.
and it just came with
Right.
it.
Notice
No,
that?
no,
There's
it
a
did not.
dually.
No, it did not come with the dually. You had to buy the second one. It came
Oh.
single.
No, you can get a dual.
Yeah,
You
still
could
came
buy
with
a
it.
dually.
Still
but
came
you
with a tape
spent-
drive.
You
Oh,
spent
so
And a
good.
printer has a power supply.
No, yeah, which is the dumbest idea ever. Who the hell thought that was a
Came
good
with
idea?
a printer.
Yeah, it had
Came
to
with-
because that powered the computer. So for the again, the ColecoVision.
Genius.
The ColecoVision had
Evil
a
genius.
computer version called the Coleco Atom. You could buy an add-on for your ColecoVision that made it into an Atom, or you could buy the Atom as a standalone. And the Atom as a standalone, I'm not gonna lie, when I
It's a
first
pretty
saw that,
computer, though.
it was a very pretty computer.
nothing
It was
wrong.
very functional right out of the gate. it had the ColecoVision cartridge library, so you
Yeah.
actually had a lot of
I mean,
software.
you had a
Yeah, you
Z80
can play Donkey
processor.
Kong right away.
Yeah.
You had a Z80
So,
processor in there. That's a
I mean,
good
here's one of the
processor.
things I kind of remember is like all the other tape drives previous were like put it in, you had to put it exactly where
Right.
you wanted and hit play. Where like wasn't the Coleco, you just put the tape in
Yep.
and it figured it out.
Exactly it.
Smart
it was,
ass
all-
thing.
it was
Like-
machine controlled, so
Yeah.
so it would search through the tape. You didn't have to do anything. There was no
Damn,
button.
that was a good machine.
The Atom was not a bad machine, so I actually have
It
an
was
Atom.
just too late to save them.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that's Coleco, by the way.
Well, there was a price point
is the
too, right?
Connecticut Leather Company?
Yep.
Something like
Seem to recall the Atom was more in the 700.
Connecticut
It
Leather
was
Company. They were
expensive.
originally
Yeah.
a leather
Yeah.
company, then they became a toy company,
Right.
then they became like a
but
game.
at Zares at the end they were 179. I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
being like on the
Yeah, but that was Sayers at the
I
end.
love Zares.
And that's a hyper
All right.
local reference.
So, what we're
We
really,
had two of
but
them.
one of the things we are going to talk about that seems we have been talking about all things 80s computer wise, and again, was
Yeah, we've been blathering, but I think this was as good of a conversation as the actual topic.
I agree,
anyway,
and
so.
let's hit the actual.
But let's do a
topic.
one-liner. What's your favorite bet for an 80s? Somebody's like just wants to try out an 80s computer. They want to play some games. What
But they
should
want to do it today, right?
Yeah.
They're going to grab it
Right now.
You're going to go out and buy one 80s computer. Doesn't matter what system. If you had to tell people this is the 80s computer you should get for your collection to play games on,
Yep.
whatever. Which 80s computer would you tell them?
I always say Commodore, but I'm gonna actually go to the Tandy because I realize how much of a community that has. So
The
if
Coco.
if you find
No, I'm
something,
sorry, the ColecoVision.
the
Oh, the Coco.
Coco.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, that has a really good community. You find one with a few games, and then you go online, and you'll go down a rabbit hole. I feel.
So you've
mean,
gone down that rabbit
I've
hole,
gone
have
down
you?
the rabbit hole. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite thing ever, but for something I never really delved into, I'm like, there's a lot going on for this thing, still today.
So here's the thing. So Radio Shack in the 80s had their own line of computers, the TRS series and technically the Coco is a TRS series, but I kind of think of that as a diversion as its own series.
It was Tandy brand.
But because Radio Shack was everywhere,
Television.
even in the 80s, even in the smallest town, there'd be a Radio Shack. They'd have a Radio
Buy a
Shack.
computer.
You could get a computer. Where they made it, I mean, small towns that didn't have department stores or anything else would still have this small Radio Shack, and that small Radio Shack would have Tandy computers. So,
Nerds are everywhere.
yeah. So, well, because, especially in small towns, you did a lot of your own electronics repair.
Yeah.
So, and because it was you could, what do you call licensing a store?
Franchise.
Franchise.
Franchising.
Because it was a franchise, you had them in, like I said, Radio Shacks in places where you may not have any other large chain store. There'd be a fucking Radio Shack.
I feel like
the
Twisted
reason,
Sister now. I want my 80s Radio
no,
Shack
the
back.
reason I say that is
There's
because
still, I think,
so
one in
I have
Wisconsin,
family in
so.
Lance, Michigan, and Lance, Michigan is like, you could throw a stone across this little town. They had a Radio Shack. It was like in somebody's house, basically, but it was a genuine Radio Shack.
The lower
and,
level
and
Radio
I could
Shack.
go there and get parts.
The establishment of a town went church, bar, grocery store, Radio Shack.
Yeah,
One of the big
pretty
things
much so. Pretty much so.
One
So
of the big things that SimCity missed was the Radio Shack zone.
agreed. So yeah, no, you're right about that.
It just seems like one that still has a lot of attention nowadays, and the other
Cool.
ones have had enough attention, I think, over the years. But
When's the
I
mini
bet-
coming out?
What?
The mini Tandy.
Mini?
Tell us a mini Tandy. I don't know.
Who
Tell
owns
us
the
a-
licensing for that now?
That's a good
Right,
question.
I wonder if Radio Shack still does. I mean, they still
The Radio
exist.
Shack still exists. Yeah,
Yeah, they
so
still exist.
they
They might
bought
still
somebody
own it.
bought all their intellectual property, so probably.
I mean, they still do have Radio Shacks
I know,
out there.
I
They're
know.
just not like they used to. be.
Where's my
They're
mini
not
Tandy?
dead. The
Well,
Tandy,
ever-
Tandy Mini. I like it.
You know, I think
They
that
had
the
that mountain
minis and they
climbing game.
that one company keeps doing just Commodore stuff, but I'm looking forward to them moving on and doing a couple of other ones. I mean, all these other systems had unique. The 4 games I have are not any kind of known game.
but they're good.
Yeah, they're interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're fun.
They had that mountain climbing game, man.
All right. Okay. Well, that
Anyway.
I didn't expect that choice from you.
No,
but,
I wasn't gonna
no.
be at first, but I'm like, I'd always say Commodore because.
But no,
I spent years and years of playing.
I understand completely. All right, Larry,
When I
how
have
about
something
you?
new and fun to play with.
You know,
Something different.
I mean,
Yeah.
his point was kind of my point. Would end up to be my point. So I owned a VIC 20,
Right.
jumped to an Amiga 500.
That's a big jump.
It is a big jump, and I loved both those systems. But I realized from talking to people, because I made that big jump, I sort of missed the 64 world. And again, it was their community that there was a C64 community that was huge.
Yeah.
And there's still people trying to write games. And
Oh yeah, they
right.
Mario.
So as a counter, if I was going to do an 80s, like this is the quintessential 80s Commodore computer,
Right.
I would say 64.
Right.
And that's the one I would recommend. I think
And
that's
it's-
a good one.
It still surprised me you missed that whole.
I know, it's
thousands of
almost
games
unbearable.
thing. Like,
Because that was we were both running.
I was on the
BBS
swim
on
team
64. It was so
Right.
good.
So
Yeah.
he jumped right over it. So yeah, just went from the VIC 20 to but 64 seems like that was the sweet spot, And I know you said that Amiga is, but I feel like it was so end of 80s.
It was the end of 80s.
Into the 90s.
It's still
that,
80s, I mean,
it is still 80s.
I consider it 90s because I played it most in the 90s.
Right.
But
Right,
I
and
did
I
have
also-
one in 80s.
and I think its life sort of
Oh, it took off
pushed
in the,
in.
yeah, but only the early 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but to like 93, 94.
About 93.
It was
so-
long lived for us, though. I mean, we were running them until, what, the 2000s?
Shit, we're
Early
still running,
2000s?
Rob.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, as far as like a main
Yeah,
computer.
Right.
Because I had a 486, but it was like I was still running my Amiga
Oh,
on a
hell
regular
yeah.
basis.
see, I avoided as long as I could to get an IBM.
I agree. I did too.
Like,
Dude,
feel
yeah.
like until I could do what the Amiga did,
Thank you.
that's like,
It
why
did-
would I
yeah.
want to buy this?
Why would I
thing that-
buy this like
Right.
386 or 286
that went
honestly?
beep, beep,
Doesn't do
beep,
jack.
unless you spent this, bought
The
this
seat
extra
amount
card,
for
this
us,
extra thing.
Yeah.
Or Turtle Beach or.
I do feel
Sun
like the
Blaster.
community thing is very important.
I'm going to agree with you on that. It is about community. So elaborating on both of them, I do like the idea of something kind of unique and different. But here is the bottom line. If you let's say are younger, Jacob, and missed the whole 80s computer craze, the whole computer wars, everything else, I would actually go with the 500. And the reason for that is
Amiga.
the Amiga 500, right?
Yeah.
Now, I owned all the
Oh, I
systems.
love the Amiga
I worked my way up. I started with the
I
VIC
used to
20,
hug it.
went with the C64, had the 128,
Larry, that's not surprising.
and then from the 128, I jumped up to the 500.
Nobody even finds that unbelievable.
Yeah, no. And they were all good systems in their own way. But for somebody who's used to modern gaming, I think if they hop on a 500, they're not going to see a whole lot of difference. I mean, there are games up there that...
I mean, stereo sound,
Thank you.
16-bit graphics.
In all honesty, they're gonna play games on that, and they're gonna think, oh, there's not much difference. Besides, it didn't do FPS games.
It did.
It did, but horribly.
Yeah.
It could not do FPS games.
I
It
was
should
only
do-
alive
it
for
shouldn't do
3
FPS
years in
games.
the
I'm
80s.
fine. But for platformers and isometrics and games like that, it was phenomenal.
But it doesn't feel 80s.
It is very 80s, dude.
It was almost
So-
too forward.
See, I missed the 1000 generation because the 1000 came out when I was still poor. And so, yeah, the 1000 was not cheap when it came out. Now, I know I had
That's funny.
I have-
So it's like the 1000 came out first,
Right.
and then it's like,
Then they got-
let's back it
Well,
up to the 500.
There's
and-
actual reason for that because the 1000 was more like it had the removable keyboard. It was it looked more like a 2000 than it did.
Well, it looked more like a
Commodore.
I want to
It
say
didn't
like
look like a Commodore
I don't
product.
know.
No, it didn't look like.
I think it was. It looked like a serious computer.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait.
You know, like
Yeah.
a
desktop, a business computer.
mainframe,
A
or
business
you know,
computer.
a
It
business
was an
computer.
Amiga product. It wasn't a Commodore product. That's why.
Well, that too.
But like because you think of like in the Amiga to me, and this was kind of the design of a lot of things like the Apple IIc or
E.
E. No, I'm thinking C.
You
C
see the
was the
little
little
one with the
guy.
handle?
The cute
No.
one.
Oh,
C was the
which
cute
one?
one.
It's
You
just
could
kinda
Like a wedge shape.
The
with
little
these-
tiny one was the
Disc
C.
drive in the
Yeah,
side.
that's
the
the
C.
C.
Yeah.
The C.
Or the laser.
You almost bought one this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
those
like
lasers.
those. Yeah, the
The lasers
lasers
are
were
cool.
nice.
Yeah, that was
They were better than
150 or
Apple.
so, and it seemed like a good deal. But then the one guy who was going to buy it said, the guy was telling him like, "Well, these keys over here really don't work." So,
Well, yeah, no,
and
then.
that was the vendor was like, "But you can put this cool LED keyboard on it."
Fuck that. Okay,
That's what he was trying.
but no, so
No.
again, if somebody who has had no exposure to 80s computers,
Yeah.
I think I would have them go with the Amiga because I think they're going to find that a very pleasant experience. I mean, even the OS on that, if you're, let's just say you're buying a genuine one, not like a mini or something like that, the OS, if you've got a 500 that's been tricked out a little bit, 3.1 ROM.
You know
blah, blah,
what?
blah.
Here's where I'm
Which
going to
most of
challenge
them
you.
buy.
Here's where I'm going to challenge
Wait
you.
till I do mine. I'll bring
Okay.
up some.
All right.
All right.
Can I bring it up now?
Yeah, bring it up now.
All right, I'm going to second the C64, and I'm going to name a couple reasons. Number one, if you're younger, you probably don't have the money for a 500. They're expensive as fuck.
They are. They've gotten really
a Commodore
expensive.
64 will run you $100. You can buy
True
yourself an SD card reader because you could get an SD drive
Yes.
for these things.
Sell me.
And-
Sell me.
He's selling you, man.
That sucker is a sub $100 item. So for under $200, you have the 64, and those games are almost always unique
That's true.
to the C64. There's literally, it was one of the biggest gaming systems of all time.
Best
So
selling,
those games
best-selling
Yeah,
computer.
lasted
ever.
forever. So, and there was just
Still to
all
this
sorts of
day.
experimental games for it. You could try
Yeah.
all sorts of weird stuff with the 64,
True that.
and they're durable as fuck. They don't break. They don't have battery leakage.
Nope.
They are almost. If you buy a 64 and it's still running, chances are it'll keep running. They had no heat dissipation whatsoever.
True.
Liars will tell you that they had a frame in there that dissipated heat. Bullshit. Most of them had a piece of cardboard that was supposed to block RF,
With
and
a little
only by the
foil
most
inside.
basic legal, almost by the most basic legal standard of the SEC.
RF shielding.
I think it was. It's just that game system. There's just so much for it. There's just so much for it, and it's not terribly expensive to go for, and it just was there. I love the Amiga though. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
but I think it's more of an us thing.
Here's the
Or
one
a
thing.
collector's
Here's the
thing.
one thing I would say that you say 80s computer, 80s. So
Right.
Starting to think 1980, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, and most of the 80s we lived with command line.
Yeah, true that.
And if you want an 80s computer,
That
You
had the
need to be
80s
entering
feel.
some
The
command
80s
line.
feel. Okay.
you need
I
to
mean,
be
the
entering some
500
command
though.
line.
The 500 though was like the most compatible with a modern user. It's just that it's so expensive to get into it.
But that's that's what I'm saying. Like to
It's
have
super
an
expensive.
80s feel, it's like the Amiga was like before
It was
already
so far.
pushing what
No,
was gonna be
it
the
was so
future.
far ahead. You're right.
Right, it
It
was
pushed
so
the
far
future
ahead.
what computing was
Like the
gonna be.
rest, everything else was command line. And
Well,
it was like
it
so.
was competing
live,
with DOS 5.
You know, you
God.
I think about the
It's
light
like-
years ahead.
I just put this disc in and it runs.
Yeah,
Or like,
thank
I'm
you.
like,
I don't-
somebody go over to my friend with the IBM, like, well, let me type it
better
on
change
stuff.
the
Right.
memory
If you
allocation.
kids want
Yeah,
to learn,
change the right.
if you
High
guys
mem. Set your high mem. Right. Set,
Ah.
yeah, you guys all remember DOS.
load high, bitches. If you
So
really
that's-
want to
that's
learn,
kinda
You're
why
saying
I-
Hymen, not Hyman, right? Because you're
High
supposed to-
mem. High
High
mem.
mem.
So
You're
that's why
supposed to
I
break
feel
that.
like the Amiga, in a way, like feels more like a '90s
It
computer.
does.
And
It
maybe
does.
it came out and it came out or whatever. But I feel like in the '80s we mostly lived in the command line world.
We
If
did,
you-
we did.
if you really do want to feel like life is not fair, get an Amiga and get an IBM PC at the
On the
same
same
time,
period.
and realize that somehow that fucking IBM won
Yeah.
at
I
like
know.
3 times the price.
Yeah.
Somehow that piece of shit beat the Amiga. How? Only by Commodore destroying itself. Commodore can only
And
destroy
IBM
itself.
losing the compact lawsuit.
Ugh.
Yeah, so that anybody could just like
Make an
print
IBM.
them out.
Could print out an IBM.
Pimple.
Yeah.
Take a pimple.
they
So
can
no,
pimple.
I would agree with. Okay, so I have to agree with your points. The fact that he's right. To get into the Amiga, if I was going to buy a system to buy an Amiga now. They're expensive as heck. Even a 500, which we're going cheap for a while.
Even the mini.
Even the mini is really expensive.
Really?
Compared to
Keep mine in my box.
compared to the 64. You're right. $200. I can buy an SD drive that imitates the 1541, and get an actual bread bin. That was what we called that shape.
And
of
that
the
bitch will plug
64.
right into your TV.
And it'll plug right in your TV, and you can go.
Yeah.
So you're right.
You have to buy a 520 to go to a TV.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have to have some kind of RGB monitor.
Right,
or
where the
something.
C64 you didn't have to. No, that's a good point.
And you will shove it wherever you want. That thing burns at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's a 64.
No, that's
Because those traces weren't made by computers, man. They drew that shit out themselves.
Plus, I want to point
Little
out.
fat traces in
I
there.
are
want
fat
to point
traces.
out in
That's
the John
65.
Wick films when they pulled his card. They pulled his card on Commodores.
Yeah.
So
They did.
20s.
Big 20s. Those are big 20s, actually.
Which will also live
Which I'm
forever.
looking so forward to is messing around with the VIC 20.
You're going to love the Big 20. So
It's like I had one, but
Get-
I had
get-
very little for it.
get the ultimate
Pentultimate.
Pentium cartridge, whatever they call it. That thing is absolutely brilliant.
That's the only computer I've ever ran out of RAM. I've actually killed the Big 20.
When I got
Holy
my
shit, I've
when I
actually-
got my 7K expander for that, I was like in
Oh, I
heaven.
bet that was heaven.
Oh, it was, dude. Because I would constantly run a RAM
Oh, that
program
bitch.
that. You know, because I only had 3 point something K left after the 5K after you loaded the basic. So getting a 7K expander was like, oh my god, I can program anything I want now.
I'm a god!
Why do they even allow BASIC on this? God bless it! Oh, it used to drive me
Microsoft
nuts.
Basic. Oh,
People were so. It was Microsoft BASIC.
I noticed on the Tandy too, when it boots up, it says Microsoft.
Yep. Microsoft did all the early basics.
Yeah, but
So-
only Commodore ripped them off.
Yeah, well, and they ripped off Commodore. It's a little fair.
because they bought it outright, not licensed.
Yeah, they did.
They ran that bitch into the ground. That was a license they ran into the ground.
Yeah, Commodore did actually buy that from Microsoft. But no, so yeah, no. I'm still going to say the Amiga for newer users. If you can afford it, it's cool. But you're right. From a experience wise and price point wise, yeah, the Commodore 64 is probably a better choice.
It's a beaut. I mean, and you can slap a fast load cartridge into it and have it boot right in that menu.
Yeah. Oh, that one guy selling carts this weekend. Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
they're really cool.
He had some really cool carts he made up. So, C64 carts. So, I got to say again, I would go again. VCF was
We're
really-
your
yeah.
way, but we're all planning to go again.
Yeah, I might have to go now.
Yeah, you do now.
Now I feel I have to
Hey,
go.
I was
It's too
sitting
much
there the whole
bullshit.
time going, Rob would be losing his shit.
Yeah, Ryan was sending a picture just to torment the white movie.
And then we're saying like, did we ask Rob if he wanted those, or we just assumed he wouldn't be able to
But-
make it?
Guess what
I
doing
was
this
clearing
weekend?
the computer room this weekend, so it was like
Yeah.
I
What's
was
that?
tied the whole
So guess
weekend.
what I was doing this Sunday?
What were you doing Sunday?
I was swinging steel around from 10 o'clock till 1 and
Oh, yeah, he's an official
Yeah.
action actor
Blacksmithing
now.
stuff now.
Oh,
Oh, no.
no.
Sword training.
Yes.
You've done it in Illinois too.
Yeah.
Broadsword. I went all the way to
And?
Illinois and was doing that.
How was it?
I love it so much.
Well, sling me some steel.
Okay, I'll get you another picture.
All right. Speaking of slinging some
But-
steel,
Oh,
we're gonna wrap things up.
I agree.
such a fun.
I want to thank
Wow, we went a while. on this
everybody very
We
much
got
for
geeky.
watching.
one. We got geeky on this one, guys.
You can visit us at www.guysgamesbeer.net. You can. Look on the top right-hand corner of the screen. You can click through to our
It's right
good
up there,
friends over
guys.
at Lionheart
Click
Racing.
on that.
All the joys of racing without the rubber hot dogs. Also below that, link to our Discord where you can get some free games. I was giving away a couple.
You
This
did.
weekend.
Gave us some good stuff too.
Yep.
Yep.
Still the garbage I usually give away.
I didn't take them.
Amazingly.
I thought about it. Not gonna
Uh,
lie, I wanted that one.
YouTube, www.youtube.com/guysgamesandbeer. Same thing with Facebook. You can check out dank memes by Master of Memetology, Dallas. And
And he has been
if you
on
go to-
fire lately.
He has been on fire, man. He's been busting me out. You can go to the Guys, Games, and Beer support group on Facebook and check it out. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. if you enjoyed this and you happen to be sitting on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. Visit us on Facebook. Really, you'll have a good time. There's a bunch of stupid going on there.
That's pretty much every day with us.
We do have one thing coming up. We have Gamehole Con coming up. That's our big interview event.
Yeah,
we spend a lot of time.
We literally get like a year's worth of interviews.
Yeah,
in
we
one fucking
That's
weekend.
next month. Damn it.
We
It's
we
coming up
spend
fast,
time,
Rob.
and the reason I'm saying is if you're going to be at Gamehole Con
Got
and
some
you
people.
are going to be maybe demoing a game or something like that, get a hold of us ahead of time. We can set something up.
Ooh, would love that.
Early, that would be helpful.
Yeah, because
and no-
we get busy on that one, don't we?
No, we're
Rob?
gonna be doing a little bit more live streaming from this one than we have in the past.
Loving that.
Our reason for it is we get such a backlog of interviews. I want to do some of them live while we're doing them. So we'll be doing more live interviews this year. It's just it's gotten ridiculous. I mean, we literally like had something. I still haven't posted
We get
it
like
all.
20 interviews sometimes during a weekend.
Yeah, and if they set conditions to them, the nice thing about streaming it is there's no conditions.
Right.
There's no like, hey, you gotta block this out. It's like I got like no time.
Yeah, I mean, you might see me just walk out of an interview to go to the restroom.
Hey, John.
Not like I ever edit that out, but. All right, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you next week.
Later, all.
Later. Oh, that's the wrong damn thing. Pre-roll.
First.
Guys, games, and beer.
That opened interestingly.
I know, it's only two